on with this. My name is Mikey. Let's find out first of all, who we've got online, because I feel like there's a few people here. Yeah. So let's just find out who we've got online. I've been talking to David. So hello, David, or David, however you want to be. Who else have we got online? Let's say hello to Katie. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mikey.
How's it going? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Just finished about half an hour ago. So just straight jumped here.
Okay, well, thanks for joining. And who else have we got here? It is Margarita. Say hello.
Hi.
How are you doing? You okay?
Hi.
And
I'm from Wantage.
I didn't quite get that. I think we might have a little bit of
Lovely. Thank you.
a little bit of satellite delay there. But maybe put it in the chat there, Margarita. And who else have we got? We've got a guy called David. How you doing? You okay? Give us a sound check.
Hi, Mikey. I'm doing good, thanks.
And we were actually just talking about the 25 years of Talkaoke. We're not quite. We're like 9 days away from the 25th anniversary of Talkaoke. And I believe you were there at the very first one.
I know it doesn't. I don't look old enough, do I? Really, but
not really. But then neither do I.
But I was there. That was a great one.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic Talkaoke. I think that was the problem. It was too good. You had to carry it on.
Recreate that ever since. Yeah. Anyway, look, we got people here in the studio as well. I've been rudely ignoring them. They're all eating chips. So we've got Rick on the machines. We've got Laura. Say hello, Laura, because we've got you on this microphone. So just a quick.
Let's do the mic check.
Hello. Can you hear Laura?
Yes.
Online people, raise your hands. Can you hear Laura? Say hello, Laura.
Everything's good.
Yeah, that's all good. And let's go around. So who else have we got? Tell us your name, Kane.
I mean, it's not Kane. Yeah, Kane. It's Kane.
You can be whoever you want to be, really. And who else have we got? Quick, I'm going to do that.
Today I'm Bobo.
Bobo?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to make things hard for me. And who have we got over here? Grab a mic.
All right, everyone, I'm Zaki.
Make sure the mic lead doesn't go in the curry sauce there.
All right, there, I'm Zaki. Hello, everyone.
And who have we got?
I'm Akbel.
Akbel. I don't think you're up enough there, Akbel. I'm going to turn you up a little bit.
Okay.
Say
Can you hear
again?
me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Akbel.
Okay. And as you all know, the way Talkaoke works, it's up to you to decide what you want to talk about. It's not up to me. I'm just simply here to listen and eat the chips. And drink. I've got a beer here as well. Thank you for that.
Nice.
Okay, so anyone got anything they want to talk about? Or should we just end it here?
I was just thinking about
yeah.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
We were in the last throes of the Conservative government.
Right. Okay, that's true. Yes.
Do you think that this is going to be repeated?
Is history going to repeat itself?
Can I also sort of? Yeah, I also have a question around your 25 years, which is, I mean, you mentioned at the top of the set, like you Talkaoke, you can talk about absolutely anything.
Yeah.
But is that completely true? Like,
no.
Okay.
One of the things that I don't say no to, but I would actively discourage is the talk of Talkaoke, because it gets too meta and you disappear up your own asshole.
But can I just say something on that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it has been 25 years, and so this is some time to talk about Talkaoke, because I think, you know, it's been an amazing achievement, Mikey and the team, to keep this going all this time and expand and have massive impacts on loads of different people, different communities, and the rest of it. So I just want to say well done for doing it all. And I will no longer talk about Talkaoke, but I think that has to be said.
Okay. Katie's pointed out that you're coming in on a different computer there, Bobba. So maybe you should change your name on that one. Have you got a point now, Bobba?
Yeah.
What?
Can't multitask though.
Yeah.
No, I think my point is that there are different schools of pronouncing Talkaoke as well, which I have discovered when I came to Talkaoke, and indeed different ways of spelling, but let's not go into that. But so maybe is it worth like just
ironing out
clarifying
these details?
Yeah, ironing out.
Can I?
Okay, I just want to say because we've got a new face online. Am I pronouncing your name right, Timna? Is that right?
Yes.
We're just actually at the moment, you've
That's
just
correct.
got a bit of a self-congratulatory mode because we're celebrating 25 years of Talkaoke. So
Cool.
which is quite a long time. And we're still trying to iron out how it's spelt and how it's pronounced, which is kind of odd for something that's been going so long, but that's the way it goes. You may or may not know that the whole point of Talkaoke is up to you to decide what you want to talk about. At the moment, against all advice, we're talking about Talkaoke. First of all, how it's pronounced, and is it an achievement going on for 25 years, or should we have actually improved a little bit by now? Yeah. Go on,
If you
Zaki.
don't mind me adding, I mean, if you've been around for 25 years, I think that's an achievement, if not an accolade, because not a lot of things can last for 25 years. Like a government, maybe conservatives, they can't last that long.
Yeah.
And they're not going to last long because Bojo's been messing up our. But where can you go? You know, it's corruption, you know, but it's a lot of stuff, you know.
Okay, so
some openers if you want.
Yeah,
Robbie Williams selling off his Bransky collections.
he's selling off his what collections?
Bransky, like the kissing cups.
Oh, okay.
They're going to go on sale at Christie's.
Right.
Quick bidding.
How much do they go for?
3 million, starting price 3 million. He's selling 3-piece, and he's expecting to get 10 million out of it. I think he's going to get a little bit more than that.
This is William, Prince William.
No. Robbie Williams.
Who?
Robbie Williams, the singer.
Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Selling off his teacup collection for 10 million.
Selling up his Bransky.
Is what?
Bransky.
What's a brand?
Like Bransky, the graph artist from Bristol.
Oh, Banksy.
Banksy. Sorry, French accent again.
Sorry, see, there's a bit of a cross because I thought you were saying Prince William selling off his tea collection, but it's actually Robbie Williams selling off his Banksy collection, and he's expecting to get 10 million for it. Okay. Any thoughts on that? Go on, Kane.
It's just, I just wondered whether you've ever sort of explored introducing Chinese whispers somehow into Talkaoke.
Well, there is a little bit of that, I think. That, you know, you get this flow, sometimes the misunderstandings actually create new understandings and new insights. Although in this case, with Prince William, Robbie Williams and Banksy. Go on, Zaki.
Oh, sorry, I wanted to quickly add a note on the Banksy thing. I saw in the news recently that, I don't know the area, I think it was Bradford, but this pub owner, on a piece of his wall, he had this Banksy artwork. A genuine Banksy artwork, and he basically took the section, like a slab of brick out of it, and he sold it privately for 2 million quid.
Wow.
And obviously everyone, I don't know the area, but I'm just saying Bradford, everyone was outraged. I mean, it was a part of their thing, like Banksy.
They were like, where's our pub wall gone?
Yeah, and where's the special artwork?
But it was his pub.
Banksy's pub.
Was it?
No, this bloke who sold it.
But it was, I would say it's part of the area. I mean,
And it would be
it would
quite.
be a bit immoral. Obviously, it's for monetary gains.
And it probably wouldn't be pleasant having a drink there during the winter with no wall.
No walls, exactly. I mean, how do people feel about that? I mean,
Would have been outraged.
the way it's conversation. Yeah, you would have been outraged. Okay, I mean, say for example, one of the artists in the Tommy Flowers pub sold or became really, really famous, and I don't know, some dude or something, meant that the wall was removed from Tommy Flowers. That's our local pub, by the way, for those who don't know. Would people be upset about that? Sure.
Yeah, I think it's Boba actually. No, but I think if you're an artist and you're putting your artwork on the public space, I guess then society, I mean, unless they really hate the work. If I was the pub owner and I was like, what is this? I wasn't here yesterday. I don't like it. I need to take it down. Fine, no problem.
Yeah.
But he's like actively making money on it. And I think that's just doing this service to the community by this pub owner. Because it's like the art is supposed to provoke people to think about different things. And if you take it down, then what are you saying? That you're a money grabbing kind of guy? I'd be pissed off. I was actually.
I would. Actually, to agree with Margot, I mean, Tommy Flowers himself, he was a special part of World War One. I mean, he helped with the whole Enigma thing, with the whole code breaks. He was instrumental in the Allies part of defeating the Germans. And obviously, he's part of, he was born and bred in Poplar. He's a big person.
He's a local hero.
Local hero.
Yeah.
So I think I would be outraged as well.
Larry, you wanted to say something, or do you want to jump in the middle at this point?
Yeah, not yet. But I do want to ask, I don't know
Yeah.
if you hear me well, to the whole idea.
Hang on, let me just turn you up and try again. Say again.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I can hear myself. I just wanted to add to the whole idea of selling artwork that was in a public space to a private owner. So it's out of sight now. And I'm so upset by this. And in general, I don't think, in terms of artwork, like Van Gogh paintings, people buying it to have it for their own, and then they rent it to galleries so it can be shown for a couple of weeks, but then you can't take pictures of that artwork because they bought it for themselves, and they paid millions for it. But also, should that be allowed to just take it away from all the other people, and they have to pay to see the artwork that originally the author didn't get any money for?
But isn't there a kind of quite rich tradition of patronage where artists, most of the National Gallery is full of people's like knickknacks having been painted, essentially, here's my boat or whatever it is, because I want a picture of my boat and I want this.
In a way, that's how artists get money in the end.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't be worth anything. I mean, they wouldn't be necessarily of any renown if there was no value to the work, monetary value.
No, but it depends who's getting money for it. Like, is that the author, or is that
actually an artist? Say you sold a work for £1,000.
Yes.
And then somebody put it up in their pub, but then you got really famous and you became a multi-millionaire, and then that person who you sold the work to for £1,000 sold the work for 2 million. Would you be upset about that?
No, that's not my point. The point is to buy an artwork for your own and then charge other people to look at an artwork that's not even your artwork. You just bought it. Like, so it's okay. You don't have to show it to anybody else if you don't want to, but I think it's rude to charge other people to see it.
And I think
it's hang on, come in.
Yeah, I just think comparing to what Laura just mentioned, I think it's interesting because if I'm not wrong, I think after an artist died, like you can use, if it's a musician and you can, or a playwright, you can use the copyright stops after 60 years, I think, after their death. So it's interesting because why doesn't this rule is also applicable for paintings? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go on, Kane, Bobber.
There's sort of two. I think there's two things at work. Like, firstly, I quite like the idea that you, like, if you buy an artwork, there's some sort of like contract that you have that in every year it has to be, you have to let it be available to the public like 3 months or every year. And also, I also think, like, because obviously there is such a rich thing of patronage within the art world, and I just like maybe there should just be a thing where like anyone who earns over a certain amount has to buddy with an artist and basically like pay them. Like they is responsible for like giving them a salary.
So in a way, it's a kind of form of taxation. If you get certain amount of money, you have to
literally, but you don't get all the art, you know, I think that then it removes it, like they don't get all of the artwork.
Okay, all right, you just get to be that patron.
Forced patronage.
Forced patronage, yeah.
Well,
Slavery.
I've bought an artwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have foisted it, and I've foisted it upon the public, whether they wanted it or not.
Yeah. Tell us a little
They
bit
may
about
not want it.
Is the artwork good?
I like it,
Okay.
but that's irrelevant, isn't
Tell us a
it?
little bit about this.
I have a building, and I had it painted.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes up to the building has to see it. Otherwise,
yeah.
Do you charge them to look at it though?
I don't charge them to look at it, but I am foisting my idea of what's nice upon them.
What's been the response of the public that sees this work?
Generally quite good, but I have had a few people say they don't like it.
Yeah.
Not many, but a few.
What's the artwork like? What is the painting on there?
It's street art. It's quite colourful. It's a bit difficult to describe.
We can probably get it on the background if. If somebody, I don't know who's doing the visuals here, but just
That's
Google Foot Clinic Gravesend, and then you can see what we're talking about, and we'll have it on the background as if we were.
As if we were there itself.
As if we were there itself.
It's in the Google Images.
Yeah. You could go to Google Street View if you can't find it.
I quite like the idea as well, like what.
And if you've got Pokemon Go, it's one of their location things.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's your challenge.
But as I say, if you don't appreciate the art or you don't like it, or it even offends you,
it's fine. Yeah.
Oh, Rick's doing it.
It's quite amazing what you get when you return Foot Clinic Gravesend.
What do you get?
All sorts of things.
A lot of pornography.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow.
We could probably, we might be able to do it on Google Street View as well. That's another way of doing it. What's the name of the road?
Old Road West.
Old Road West. Anyway, so we've got somebody that's commissioned a piece of public artwork. I mean, if that artist that did that work suddenly became mega famous, and you could actually somehow sell the walls.
I'd sell the building.
Would you sell the building?
Yeah.
As a whole.
Yeah, move somewhere nicer.
Okay.
Bigger, more
do you
facilities.
think you've got any sort of that's the right corner. Rick, you just need to spin around. There we go, there it is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Let's just get that on.
I know. Yeah.
He's doing it.
As I say, if you are offended by it, you've got no choice about it.
How can you
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how you can.
Yeah, you may not be, but it might offend some. There's plenty of nutcases out there that don't like stuff.
I was thinking that there might be like something that is like visually suggestive in it.
Just for the people online, I'm just going to duck down so they can see.
That's probably advertising that.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
I guess the only issue is because you have.
It's not advertising, just in case the planning people are listening. It's
really?
art.
It's art, yeah.
So there's a different rules for advertising and art.
With advertising, you need planning permission. And
you don't with art?
No.
Okay.
So you can paint your building pink if you want to, as long as you're not in a conservation area or
Okay.
or
in a conservative.
but if you decide that you want to paint it blue and pink and a combination of different colours in different orientations, it's still okay.
Bobo, you want to come in on this one?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I just got a question. I want to go back to what Laura was saying about artists maybe getting not that much money for their art, but then suddenly it becomes like really really expensive. But actually there's somebody who goes like, I want that, and I want this other thing from Waitrose as well. And it's kind of like putting art on the same level as just any old object. And I just wanted to know what people think about that. Is art something that should be bought or sold?
I think so.
I can't see why not.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, the artists have to live on. I think you cannot. I think the artists have to get the revenue.
But I mean, say
like any artist.
Once it's passed into the collector's hands, the artist gets no more revenue. So should they get a cut every time it gets sold? A bit like
or their family or something.
Yeah, should they get a cut every time that artwork is bought and sold?
That would hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it should, because maybe people would think twice.
Yeah.
Before just basically thinking about themselves and getting money off of something.
What about the Greek columns in the British Museum, who should be going back to Greece? Does the British Museum is paying any money to the Greek governments? By owning their art.
Okay, there's some points from Katie as well. Talking about NFTs. So to give, and that can be a way of giving the artist a cut every time it's sold. But I have to say, Katie, you're going to have to come in and explain what that NFTs are, and if you can, in a few.
I am not going that road.
No, it's very confusing. Okay, so no chance.
It might take too long, and okay. Long story short, let's say everyone knows what Mona Lisa is, right?
Yeah.
But anyone can print a poster of Mona Lisa and put it in their room. Okay. But it will look pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But value will not be the same.
No.
So NFTs is something similar, as in the digital copies may exist anywhere and anyone can take a screenshot of it. However, it kind of verifies which particular copy is the original one.
Right.
Mostly for bragging rights, same way as, you know, having specific painting instead of poster of that painting gives that person bragging rights that, you know, I own the original one, even though they look identical.
Okay, so in the digital world, I suppose there's very little difference between the original and copy.
Yes.
But it just establishes which copy is the original copy.
Correct. And then the original can be sold, and when the artist creates it for the first time on the blockchain, they can set it up in such a way that every time it gets resold, they get a certain cut from it, from the price.
Okay.
So this, like in real world, it's very hard to action it, considering that art can move across country borders, which can have different rules, different laws, and different taxes and everything else. Whereas in NFT world, blockchain is global and doesn't make any difference whether you're in Antarctica or Russia or wherever. So,
would you buy an NFT, Katie?
I have bought a few. I've been gifted a few.
Oh, really?
Can we see any of your NFTs?
Of what?
What's the value of it?
Yeah, tell us about your NFTs that you've got.
Show us your NFTs.
Well, I got a couple of NFTs which are actually cryptocurrency related. I won't. I will post the links later in the chat. But there are like NFTs, just like a lot of different forms of art in real life. They also can be in different forms. For example, some people consider collection of coins or post stamps as art, right? So in NFT world, there are also equivalents of that. There are some NFTs which don't look as impressive, yet they are more as a collectible.
Right.
And there are other pieces which are actual art.
Right.
I know, for example, an artist who sends an actual painting to the person who buys an NFT. So they get both the original of the digital form and also the actual thing. So like it can be done in so many different ways that every artist can set it up whichever way they like.
Could we make a Talkaoke NFT?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we'll come back to you in a minute. I just want to say goodbye and get a final thought off of you, Dave. That's David Winecove.
Any relation?
No, there's two Davids on the call. That's why I'm saying that. But then we'll cut. I don't know. I don't know. We could find out how to make a Talkaoke NFT. Maybe that is how we.
Would tonight be?
I do have to leave. Sorry, I'm going to a thank for discussion. I'm going to a meeting of people. It's a debate about should I stay or should I go from the Labour Party. So it's a bunch of people that are in the Labour Party who say we should stay, and a bunch of people that have left the Labour Party say we should go. I'm one of those, and so it's going to be quite interesting. So
that's throwing something in there. But you know, it's up to people what they want to talk about as you're
Well,
leaving.
I mean, if you're still going when it's finished, I might be able to pop back and tell you how it went.
Goes, yeah. So you're a leaver, not a stayer.
I'm a left. Yeah, I've left.
You've left.
I couldn't put myself behind the Labour Party.
You've left.
Sorry?
He was near the door.
Left and left, yeah.
You've left.
Left and left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll be persuaded, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you later, guys. Well, congratulations on everything.
All right.
Look forward to the next 25 years. In 25 years' time, we'll be hopefully face-to-face Talkaoke.
Yeah, well, it might be holographic by then, or it might be FT based. Whatever that means, I don't really understand it. But
well, you know, if our health is still okay, we might need to just use uploaded brains, you know.
Yeah, I might be an artificial intelligence by then.
But Mikey, I get it's sort of there's two things.
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah.
So I think the thing about art, like buying artwork and about removing a section of a Banksy wall, like there is something around, like, and NFTs is this idea of like authenticity, like does it make it any less valuable if someone like if a kind of second grade Mikey like built a donut shaped table and got people to have a conversation around, like would it be any less authentic? Like,
no, I've encouraged the second-rate Mikeys to come and build the Talkaoke tables.
So I think
build it and they will come.
Because there's this whole like Van Gogh. Have you seen the Van Gogh immersive Van Gogh thing that's on at the moment?
No.
It's like more expensive than going to the actual Van Gogh museum, but where it's like projections of Van Gogh artwork, and that's incredibly popular at the moment. So do we need the originals? Is what I'm asking. Do we need you anymore, Mikey? Like 25 years on, have you
have I'm defunct and obsolete?
Maybe we need the next
You got a few years left.
a younger Mikey or a robotic Mikey.
Yeah.
But have you actually seen any of Van Gogh's paintings in person?
Yeah, I have.
Don't you think they are so much more than any of the reproductions that you see?
But I would probably agree with you,
seen
but they're very popular. People
Yeah,
go to see
yeah.
them.
Have you seen the projections?
I didn't, but a lot of my family members did go to see that in Warsaw recently.
But potentially we're snobs.
Yeah, and also there is a free website on the internet. I don't remember how is it called, but actually there's a lot of paintings on that website that you can get very, 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 like the close-up can be so big you can see like the smallest smudge of paint on the painting,
right?
And that's for free, and people can go and explore it. And the Van Gogh paintings, there's a couple, and you can get so close you practically see the paint coming off the painting.
Because we don't have this issue of music.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to, like, it doesn't devalue the experience of listening to a song that we aren't like every single time. We don't have to like go to the artist and get them to sing it to us. So why with artworks?
Yeah. So you think it's a bit different? So in music, you don't necessarily need
we don't need
Cardi
like
B
Bon
to come
Jovi
and do WAP in your face.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to watch the YouTube video.
It'd be an interesting thing if that was how music emerged. But why is art emerged like that?
Okay, so why are we so obsessed with this originality in art but not in music or in other forms? Go on that, Val.
I'm not entirely sure we are obsessed with it, but there is a kind of pleasure, I guess, in owning something that is unique and that is different to something other things. Equally, I own prints as well, and I just like what I like. It's a bit
Prince William or Prince Harry?
I own none of them.
Because if you like Prince,
And
then
I don't
he's
actually-
selling his teacup collection.
Prince is selling his teacup
Yeah.
collection now.
Prince.
Yeah, that's how we got it wrong.
Prince.
Anyway, Katie, you've got
Well,
your hand up.
Maybe I'll have one of Prince's
Yeah. Okay,
teacups.
so you like owning things. You like owning prints. You like owning.
And I think maybe it's
Yeah.
the capitalist in me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can take it away from somebody else in the process.
I like having something so someone else can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Why is my kaching sound not working? Anyway, so Katie, you've got your hand up. Do you want to add or subtract to what?
No, I just wanted to respond to the question, like why some people value originality so much. I guess it just comes down to how I think of it in a similar way. You know how people go to a party and they meet someone who wears the same shirt like them or a same dress or anything like that. And one kind of people, they get upset about it. And another one is like, oh, this is my new friend, best friend now.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just personal view.
Yeah, okay.
Some people value it in one way, other people in a different one.
What sort of person are you? Are you the person that's happy when you meet your double at a party that's wearing the same thing, or are you upset about it?
It has never happened to me, so I can't tell for sure, but I think I would be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like. I think some people are very proud about their uniqueness, and I don't think I'm unique at all. I think I'm just another speck of sand in a sea of earth, and I don't matter. So for me, meeting someone like me is like, oh yay, that's amazing. But I know personally some people who feel challenged if someone's like them. So
I'm not really supposed to give my own opinion here on Talkaoke.
yeah, go on. Please do.
Thousands of people a year, and I've never met anyone like you, Katie. So I think you're undervaluing your originality and uniqueness.
But you think that being unique has more value. I don't.
Okay. Well, what do other people feel they're unique, or they're just another speck, another grain of sand on the beach? Go on, Poplar. Or should I come to Kane?
I was just thinking, I'm not going to answer it, but have people ever met their doppelganger?
You?
Someone was saying the other day, you remind me, like you look. Someone at the restaurant was saying, like there's someone, this chef. I've not met him. Apparently, looks remarkably like me. So apparently, they are out there. So have you met yours? I've definitely met my sisters.
Has anyone ever met their doppelganger?
No.
Would they kill them if they did?
Why?
Well, if you believe that you're unique. Go on, sorry.
Some people make shows about being with a doppelganger in some kind of creative.
Oh, really? What
I wanted to say is that I think that the whole idea of uniqueness is just silly. I mean, like we are kind of, okay, we're different, but basically we're the same. And I think I'm with Katie basically.
Yeah.
Just if you think you're so unique, just get over yourself. And
if everyone is unique, then no one is.
Yeah. And also, I'd quite like to see maybe streets in like looking a little bit more plain, so there's nobody imposing the murals on others. Yeah. Just keep it plain. Keep your artwork indoors, locked up.
I don't know what other people think about uniqueness. Online people, we've heard from Katie. Margarita, are you unique? Margarita, talk to me. You're just frozen there, but maybe you can't.
In a with a blissful.
Yeah, in a happy way. Margarita, are you unique? Hello. Do you feel that you're unique, Margarita?
You know, it's funny. Thank you for adding the subtitles, and they have a fantastic, funny delay. And my connection here in one, which is absolutely funny as well. But okay,
Well, that's definitely a unique
As
answer.
for me, uniqueness is okay. I don't worry. Just
Margarita, I'm afraid to say.
why not? At least the fingerprint is unique. But I'm not proud of that.
Fingerprints.
Fingerprints, yes. We got the last bit, but we didn't hear most of that, Margarita. You might have It sounded.
And be, let's say, according to Joseph Boyce, we're all sorry.
We got some of
I'm probably speaking on different topic. I'm not sure.
Okay. You might have to type that in.
I'm trying to somehow summarize my feelings about.
I think that is actually that chat is coming from much earlier.
Okay.
Anyway, where do we go from here? We're talking about uniqueness and a unique situation. Ian, you did join, but you left again. It seems to be light where you are, which is very confusing. Are you in America or somewhere?
It might be a green screen.
Yeah, it might be a green screen. Yeah, I know that.
You know, when you have a different background.
Yeah, we're well aware. Anyway, Ian, we're talking about uniqueness, and do you feel unique? Most of the people here on this call, they don't feel unique or the need to be unique. They feel like quite happy to be just another person with all the magical qualities that people have got. David.
I think you're unique when you're a baby. Apparently, all babies look the same. Anyway, but as you get older and older, your uniqueness disappears because like, somehow you realize that you're part of a bigger society, and so basically somehow as you get older, you become more. And you start thinking as a bigger sense of the society thing. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Uniqueness is quite something when you're a teenager. Things, but the most accurate thing is you're unique when you're a teenager. Oh, they're twins, triplets. Yeah, so basically, yeah, and yeah, the thing about like privilege. So owning something with unique is like basically this is something with linked to capitalism. Basically, you mark your difference by basically being able to afford something which basically gives you privilege and the privilege. But anyway, sometime soon, the privilege will just being able to access to water and energy. So basically, somehow, for the moment, yeah, it will. As long as we all got those privileges, we are all happy. Anyway, that's it. Somebody.
Ian, I don't know if you're picking up what we're putting down here. Just give us a hello, first of all. No, you've got to unmute yourself, that's for sure. Ian, unmute yourself. Anyway, this is working.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, 2 years into Zoom. We're talking about uniqueness, basically. And
yeah, I heard that. And I was going to say about passion, how it starts off being one or two people, and as the passion grows, people gravitate to it and it becomes less unique. So perhaps it's the fate of everything that's unique to become commonplace.
Oh, in a way, it kind of starts off unique, but it just dilutes. Like, for example, a shirt like this, there was a time when nobody wore these shirts.
Yeah, there still is.
Yeah, it's not a good example. It's not a good example. But all right, the shirt that girl's wearing.
Yeah, the people speak t-shirt.
Yeah, that was a time when nobody wore these shirts. and now at least 7 or 8 people wear these shirts now.
So
yeah, go on.
So I guess is the only way to sort of be genuinely, authentically unique is to be like a dying species that's really like there's like like a panda that is dying because it's decided that it's no longer going to reproduce, which is the sort of issues with pandas.
Well, at least that it isn't going to pander to expectations.
Good joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe there is a to be unique, you need to be redundant.
Okay, does unique mean redundant? Bobo?
It's Bobo, actually.
I'm trying my best today.
There's an umlaut over the O.
What I wanted to say is about uniqueness. I'm fascinated. I'm not judging in any way, but I'm just fascinated by. Oh, maybe I am judging actually. By people who do like plastic surgery, or like inflate lips in particular.
The French couple, the French brothers.
Which I mean, what's that about? Because I think it's okay not to want to age and kind of cover up your wrinkles by injecting stuff, and that's fair enough. But then what that is making all the celebrities look the same, like the kind of similar facial features, like the same kind of shape of cheekbones and lips and whatever. And then it's just like, I find that a bit weird. And the second thing that I just wanted to throw out there is that I think today is the Penguin Awareness Day, and I'd just like to shout out the penguins.
They look very similar to each other.
Yeah, they do. Do you think they've been having enhancements?
Most likely.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually a conversation that came up. No, it was at Talkaoke, just down the pub recently. Do we look to penguins like penguins look to us? The penguins kind of look out over and just go, bloody hell, they all look exactly the same as humans. They're so similar to each other.
But is that not why we wear clothes though? Is apart from obviously like we have less hair on ourselves than we should do. Is it just so because humans kept on arranging meetings with other humans and couldn't tell themselves apart, and that's why we wore clothes, so we could at least distinguish ourselves? Yeah, I don't know whether there's a similar issue of penguins. Like, do they sometimes arrange to meet and then they never find each other?
Well, I don't want to be like the character, so I'll let someone else do it. But they do manage to meet up with each other.
I'm guessing
they do. I think they do.
They don't. They're like, oh man, I don't know where my partner's gone.
Sorry, wrong penguin. Yeah, they don't ever do that. As far as
accidentally cohabiting with the wrong penguin.
So what was he dressed like? Well, he was wearing black and white. He was wearing a dinner jacket and a white shirt.
You need to be
That's
more.
all I know.
Yeah. Anyway, go on, Zach. You had a point to say
Yeah, I
about
want
the
to quickly
penguins?
say about the penguins.
Yeah.
I think what they do, they all have specific noises. So when they go back from feeding, obviously they got their young, they put their young somewhere.
Yeah.
They go back from sea, you know, and they have these specific noises with their partner.
Right.
And then the kid or whatever, they hear this noise and then they'll reach out, you know, because each parent has a specific sound, you know.
Do they have good? They must have good sense of direction as well.
Definitely as well, yeah.
That's the issue of Google Maps.
Yeah.
iPhones, man.
Okay, so I mean, the whole point of, as I've said, we've kind of lost the one new person to Talkaoke who was Timna. She didn't last the course. But the main point about Talkaoke is up to you to decide where you want to take this. Do you want to do about penguins and Penguin Awareness Day? Do you want to talk about individuality versus?
I wanted to go back to the individuality actually, because I had a point before the penguins came up. That now we talk about individuality, but also for teenagers, it's like the biggest struggle to not be different than the others, and it's actually a big issue for their mental health as well, because whenever there is something different with them, they're gonna most of the time get picked at. This is how you say, like, it's just like bullied or picked on.
Any teenagers in this session?
Well, I'm gonna move up from a teenager.
Well, you are a teenager,
yeah,
aren't
I'd say,
you?
yeah.
Okay, so Zaki, do you feel that you have to? Do you feel this pressure? to fit in or to stand out? Either of those.
I mean, recently a lot of stuff has happened. I mean, I managed to grow a beard within the space of a couple months, even. Which I was surprised as ever. I mean, but now,
do you feel that's helped?
I think it's helped, but people just see me as a bit older. I mean, I can't really take that as a compliment. I mean, but I'm maturing, but you know.
I mean, are you trying to fit in or stand out?
I would say maybe conform to society because I wouldn't say I'm unique, but every human is unique in this aspect. But I'm just, you know, your usual Bob, you know. But I just have, you know, we all have our, you know, differences, you know, and that just makes us, you know, just spark out.
So,
you know.
So it's actually a combination of fitting in and standing out.
Yeah, and how you make an impact on the society and how others look at you. Yeah.
The penguins, the teenage penguins grow beards.
The bearded penguins do.
Yeah.
Are there bearded penguins?
I'm sure there are. There's bearded everything else, aren't there?
Is that you've got a beard as well? I noticed.
I have.
Is that to fit in or stand out?
Here, Mikey,
Stand out.
I've just got your panda joke.
About time.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just stands out. I quite like having this quite grey, white beard.
Yeah, so it's more of a standout than a fit in.
Yeah.
But that's distinguished.
Distinguished. Yeah.
They say that. I don't know how distinguished I am.
In a way, that's the kind of theme of this talk. It's almost like fitting in and standing out at the same time, just like the penguins in a way. They do both.
It's also just, I think, in terms of aiming for trying to be unique. That idea of that. It's that idea of like history is always repeating itself. Like you can never. It would be really difficult. I can't really think of a way that I could do something that is truly unique, that like no one has ever done before. Like, everything, it just feels like we're at a point now where everything's been done already.
Do other people agree with this? I mean, it's up to you where you want to take this conversation. We can talk about doing something truly unique. We can talk about penguins. What'll it be?
Pangolins.
Let's huddle together.
We'll huddle together and find out. Ian?
Yeah, it's like being unique is like trying to think of a different colour that doesn't exist.
Yeah. But people do that, don't they? They do come up with new colours.
What's the Yves Klein blue? That's a good blue.
Yeah. So people, okay.
No, not just a different name. I mean, a colour that's not made up out of the colours we have. You know, primary. Try and think of a different primary colour.
Well, okay.
We're not quick to do it.
No, definitely can't do that one. I'll come up with a gag based on primary colours either. I guess it's just,
No, something of
it's
it.
not part of my spectrum,
Sorry, talking about the form of colours, I'm a smoker myself, and some people may have seemed to realise, well, not recently, but a couple of years back, I don't know what it's called, but they put the world's ugliest colour on the packaging. It's some shade of green, and it's just
okay. Was that deliberately to make it as unappealing as possible?
It's just to deter people from smoking. But I mean, half of us ain't even asked of it, but you know, it's
they actually researched it to find out what the least appealing colour was.
They stuck it on the packaging, and obviously you got all the facts and
because what you'd want is a colour that actually, if you looked at it, it would make you throw up.
Repulsive colour.
So it's a repulsive colour.
They also found, I don't know if you heard this, Vanta Black, the world's darkest color. Like it absorbs, I think, 99% of light, something like that. No, sorry, 0. The smallest number of light. And it's just pure dark color.
Is that something we want to reflect on?
It's quite dark, I'd say. But
I don't see the void.
Where do we want to go with this conversation? Do we want to talk about individuality? Kane says it's almost impossible to do something original. Do we agree with that?
I think technology has made certain things more original than previously would have been conceived.
I mean, has anyone else ever had a dietary clinic with covered in street art?
Not as far as I know. I think I might be unique in that regard.
So in a way, I think the things that that all of us here in this room or in the Zoom have done, which make us original.
Yeah, but they're variations on the theme.
There is.
Or combining several things.
You may be the first podiatrist that's got a painted wall, but you probably have like foot clinics in ancient Rome that had some sort of like something like sculptures or statues.
But I mean, the thing is with every talkaoke, as Mackie's right, it is different. Like every talkaoke we've had, it's never the same topic.
Never ever the same.
And then we have like all these hundreds of topics within one session. It's just it blows my mind.
Exactly. We've never talked
We'll
about
never have the same
penguins
topic
as
in
far as I
100
know.
years.
Yeah.
It's like with a pack of cards. You'll never have. It's statistically impossible. There's never been the same deck. You're gonna reshuffle pack of cards.
But it can still be all the same notes, but not necessarily in the same way.
Ian's patiently got his hand up. Go on, Ian. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that really we are equipped with just the 5 senses. So to do something different with them would possibly be impossible. It's all variations on the same theme. Something that struck me as I was casually reading my Bertrand Russell history of Western philosophy the other day, as you do, was the account of the people that first discovered alcohol. When you imagine being the first person ever to get drunk, you must have think that yourself as some kind of god or something, or I don't know. And you could say the same thing about drugs as well, couldn't you? But even they're confined now, unless we find a new plant that is a new drug. I don't know.
But pigs were getting drunk early on, weren't they? Because pigs used to get shit-faced on fermented apples.
I've seen a few down flowers, yeah.
So yeah, like animals would beat us to it first.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's the same with deers also. They used to get, off their tips off magic mushrooms. They used to be chomping off the mushrooms and
The fruit ferments, doesn't it?
Yeah. So getting munted is not original.
What's the magic? I think the mentor.
Do you think humans are always behind every other?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Behind every stoner, there's a deer.
Yeah.
Well, they got there first.
Honestly, maybe probably just join in.
I'd like to point out that Katie had changed her picture
to a penguin.
Is that a penguin version of yourself?
Also,
That's quite
what animals would people be? That's what I want to know. If they want to,
what animal would you be?
I don't know.
And about spirit animals as well. So
Yeah. Have you got spirit animals?
I'll say bear. Most people because I look like them. I've got the picture to boot, but that's another story.
Okay. Anyone else got a spirit animal?
No, I have one. It's a bison.
Bison. Yeah.
I'd quite like to be a goat.
Goat, yeah.
I think I'm a goose.
Goose, okay, interesting.
Like a Canada goose,
Yeah,
to be specific.
yeah.
Goats eat anything, don't they?
Personally, I would say wolf, but then I'm a vegetarian, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the ones that go like that? And then, like,
Meerkats.
Meerkats.
Oh,
Yeah. But before compare the market.
Before they became popular.
Have you got a spirit animal here?
Hmm?
You got a spirit animal?
No, don't think so.
Have you got a spirit animal, Margarita? Just say a yes or no to begin with. Let's try it.
Or an animal that drinks spirits.
Uh-oh, what have we done? David, have you got a spirit animal?
Monkey?
Monkey, any particular type of monkey? Any type of monkey there?
Sorry, what's happened?
Monkey.
Which kind of monkey? Macaque or something?
A macaque.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's like a big gorilla, but he just go away.
Yeah.
Just go around like.
What Katie said about, I don't quite understand, but I want to understand what you said about the finding out. Katie said on the chat, I've played this game about spirit animals with a friend who, and we found that it is possible to describe a person fairly accurately by using a
set
set
of
of three
three
animals.
So
What does that mean?
do you want to explain that a little bit?
Well, different animals have different qualities. However, as humans, we tend to be fairly complex.
Yeah.
To have fairly complex personalities. So we were just talking about different friends, and we were thinking, okay, like what kind of animals would they relate to? And we found that if we picked 3 animals, we can fairly accurately guess who we are talking about.
So what are your 3 animals?
Mine were eagle, lion, and a snake.
Right.
What? Eagle,
Lion, snake.
Eagle, lion, snake.
But the question is, could you do it with would it work if it was just like 3 biscuits instead of 3 animals?
What, so bourbon coffee?
Probably I don't know enough biscuits. Maybe.
It's a bit of a jammy top, but that's something else.
I think it works.
Any three. That does have a ring to it.
What about other things rather than big animals? Could it be
3 conservatives.
Oh no.
Oh, I don't know.
Bit of Boris Johnson,
There aren't.
Hancock.
They all
Theresa
have
May.
very, very poor qualities.
Yeah.
I don't think they are diverse enough. I don't think they're diverse enough, so you can.
Well, yeah, it's precisely. I mean, you can't have empathy or kindness or any of that.
And an elephant and a mouse in the same time.
Yeah. Well, we can't. I don't know.
So 2 conservatives, a biscuit, a conservative, a biscuit, and an animal. Could that work?
Yeah.
That would.
I mean,
That would.
everyone's got a dark side, haven't they? That could be represented by the conservative.
We've all got a little PJ in us, yeah.
And we've got a sweet side that could be represented by the biscuit, and then the animal side. So it could work, I suppose.
So maybe we could release some kind of personality test or something like that.
They'll probably be very
People do
successful. That's where we make money through the NFTs.
If we had to talk about
An app, create an app.
Yes.
Sell it. Yeah.
There's games on Facebook where basically you can play,
One of those games on Facebook.
personality.
If we can't do something unique, let's just follow the herd.
You heard it.
But is that not unique? If you take 3 random things and use it to describe somebody, then surely each person, with all the things out there, each person will be unique based on those 3 items.
Yeah, but
or animals. Or
Well, there's that thing. What 3 words is a geolocation thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, happy, scary, and then I know what that is. What 3 words, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can locate. Is it a 3
Yeah.
meter
3
by 3 meter?
3 by 3 meter. And then
Yeah,
find out what here is.
And obviously it's
Yeah.
good for emergency services because you can just point that specific location. But yeah,
someone find out. Well, Kane's doing what 3 words is Aberfeldy Street.
I have
well,
got one.
specifically here.
Well,
I've got
Kane
the
said
app,
Aberfeldy
so-
Street. You've got the app.
I have,
Yeah.
sadly.
Okay.
I don't know.
Shortly.
What, yeah, I don't know
Do you know what we're talking about? No. Okay.
Does anyone else?
yeah.
So
I've heard of it, yeah.
So they've made like they're really small, the blocks. They basically divided the world up into very, very small. Is it
Yeah, blocks. Yeah.
meter
3
square
And it covers the
blocks?
whole
No.
world.
And
3
every
meters.
single block has a 3-word thing, randomized 3 words.
What's it used for?
So normally, let's say, more specifically, let's say you're
on the top of the mountain.
or on
Oh,
the
yeah.
top of the mountain, and obviously you're lost. And emergency services, and if you say these 3 words in a specific point, they can get a helicopter in, or
But if you're like lost in the jungle, how will you know the
What
3
the 3
words?
words
Well,
are.
obviously-
You have your
You
app.
need
You
your
have your
eyes.
phone.
Yeah.
location.
Although
Oh, I
you do need
see.
to
You
be
need your eyes
outside of
open.
here.
If you have it
It's
on.
not relevant if you're a penguin and you get
Oh,
lost.
I mean, penguins don't need what 3 words because they
They have their own
find,
sense of direction.
they find their
They find their way.
yeah.
We're Herb's Farmer logo.
Herb's Farmer logo.
Yeah, that's a weird.
That sounds quite appropriate. I don't know.
Farmer?
Farmer.
Herb's Farmer logo. They sort of fit together those words. It's all what now. Herb's, a logo for a herb farmer. It makes
Then there's
sense.
many types of herbs out there. So
Like you're a few different
and logo
things.
maybe for the NFT kind of,
Yeah.
feel.
The chicken shops really lend nights. So
It's weird.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we were trying not to get meta, and we've just thought talking about Talkaoke is just going to
And
be
that's the only way that you
confusing,
can do something unique.
but we just broke that. This can be even more
I mean,
abstract.
that is our unique sort of postcode, isn't it? What was it? Farmer herbs. Does it matter what order they're in?
Yeah.
Farmer herbs, though.
Because
Yeah.
if we say farmer logo herbs, you could be somewhere in South America for all we know. You know what I mean? It's something
Really?
specific, very specific. You have to be accurate with these.
Farmer herbs logo.
Well, it's
Yeah,
all in
no,
English
that one,
rather
yeah.
than other
That is
languages.
that's near West Glen Falls in New York, actually.
Or Casa de Boats.
That
Like,
is
it's
in-
just random words, like.
Well, think of 3 words and see where it is.
Yeah, we could do that.
That would be a good good
This is
Yeah.
fun.
game.
Suppose so.
Go on then. What are they?
So, people, maybe we ask internet people to come up with a word each.
Go.
Katie, come up with a word. Generic word.
What words? My 3 words.
Yeah.
Oh, Timna's back.
Timna's back.
She had a pumpkin burger, now she's back.
Yeah. She had.
It's true.
Hopefully, it had a Farmer Herbs logo. Just so you're in, Timna, we're now talking about.
Go here.
Oh, okay. We're talking about. No, because they can't hear us.
Pumpkin burger back is actually something.
Okay, we're sort of on the penguin thing.
It's a
because
Malvern.
Penguins are kind of unique to themselves, but very generic to us. But are we the same way to penguins? Oh, she's still connected to audio. Anyway, but now we're on to this. What 3 words? Can you use 3 concepts to describe anybody? What's this saying?
Shared petty insect.
Shared petty insect.
Is that what you
I
are,
can't
Katie?
get a signal.
Like shed.
No, shared, like sharing.
Is that your what 3 words? Shared petty insect. Okay.
Is this also? Is there any way? I mean, can you tell? I mean, so here's my question: are these words? And Ian is a philosopher, so maybe he can talk about it.
Well, at least he's got the 20th century philosophy book.
He said, I don't think we call this a crisis yet. Remember
I wondered, because there's this thing in philosophy about, is it the world? I mean, like the words describe the world, and then they kind of shape our experience of it, or something like that. So if you use certain words to describe things, you are somehow giving it an interpretation. So if you call this whatever strange green the ugliest color in the world, for instance, I think.
Is it taupe?
Taupe.
I think so, yeah.
Taupe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
What's a flower opposed to color?
Yeah. I just want to say there's.
Do you know where shared petty insect is? It's in East Ham.
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, now Katie's revealed her address to the entire wide world.
Very specifically.
Yeah.
We will be around after.
Anyway, there's a couple of people who joined us, so let me just explain. We sort of started talking about artwork and NFTs, and we started talking about uniqueness and similarity. Some people don't even want to be unique; they want to be just another grain of sand on the beach. But are we all unique, or are we all different? And then, actually, weirdly and coincidentally, today is World Penguin Awareness Day, and penguins themselves look all the same to us, but to each other, they're all very, very different, and they can find their exact mates. So then we're like talking about animals, and what is your spirit animal, or can you actually use 3 animals to describe anyone's personality? And then we're also talking about what 3 words which will describe your exact location. And it's really this kind of words, individuality, uniqueness, stroke, sameness that we're talking about. I don't really know. It's a bit of a strange philosophical conversation that we're having tonight with various people, including shared petty insect. Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly add.
Yeah.
On the topic of describing things, you could also go with the topic of maybe foodstuffs.
Yeah.
So there's this
What,
food.
three burgers?
Yeah, or even just
Yeah.
specifically just one foodstuff to describe the nature or the attitude of one person. So, for example, there is a specific Nordic delicacy. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but I haven't tried it personally. But it's called surströmming. It's fermented herring, and it's in a can. And once you open the can, it's like it would make you sick. Like you would gag up almost instantly without even eating said product. Like it's just.
Yeah. Would that describe you?
No.
It's a Swedish thing, isn't it?
Swedish delicacy.
Yeah.
I'll just say like an afield or something, because sometimes I do get a frosty reception. And seeing it is in the season of, we just passed winter, why not?
There's a comment from Margarita in the chat. How would we describe uniqueness after this discussion? And is this pickled herring a kind of, or fermented herring a kind of unique food stuff? And how does that translate to someone's personality?
Toxic, I guess. And
would that be a toxic personality?
Fresh. Sorry, not fresh, but like natural, natural processes. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I think.
Anyway, I don't know if those two people that have joined us, have you got any idea what we're talking about? Tim, do you know? Yes, you do. Amazing. Yes. All right. So go with the conversation.
I think.
What will it be? I'm going to do that one again because it's such a good one. Yeah.
What did you say?
What will it be?
Apparently, Talkaoke Studios says now.
Yeah, we lost Albert now.
Is face orange select.
Oh,
so
I like the orange part. I think it's very accurate.
But so what
happened to what was the other one? The sort of
farmers
logo. Where's that?
Wait, I'll show you where that is.
No, but I think we take more space. Yeah. So we can I think the one I got is just in front of our door, but if you want to be inside, that will be a different word.
Okay. So face orange select. Weirdly, you're facing the orange wall.
Yeah, that's true.
It's weird.
Kind of in that corner.
Yeah, so weird. So weird. The world we live in. And these happy coincidences
and randomness.
Did you want to say something, David? No. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, you're muted. You're muted.
Not really. If obviously I'm all right. I'm just listening, and I'm just like I don't know about uniqueness. Obviously, your artists are definitely unique when they got their own style and stuff like that. So basically, yeah, I guess we.
Do you feel like are you an artist?
I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I tend to think that I'm an artist, but I don't have any sellable work. I don't think my work is sellable. I cannot make many. I don't think I will make any money out of my art.
No, but do you feel like as an artist you're unique as an artist?
Yeah, I like the idea of create as a group. So yeah, I like the idea of sharing and basically your work being transformed by somebody else and being interpreted and being used and stuff like that.
What? Sorry, can I just ask? Why does he think his art is unsellable?
Because I'm going
to be Axel because
maybe
he'll buy anything, honestly.
I'll buy any old shit. Rick,
because I got very big complex of inferiority when I see.
If Akbar wanted to buy your work, will you sell it to Akbar? Your work behind, can I ask?
Yeah, it is my.
I can guess it's related to the French education system, isn't it?
Maybe.
Quite interesting, colourful.
Hang on. Can we have silence, please? Timna was saying something.
I was just joking on David's self-esteem, and I would just say I guess his self-esteem is related to the French education system. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we're going back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I do like to basically. I do like the idea of like basically creating your own world, kind of stuff like that. I don't know. Anyway, carry on. The next Explain Cinema is on the sometime in February. So if you want to submit to Explain Cinema, you're more than welcome.
Send us a link in the chat. That was Exploding Cinema you're talking about.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you might have to explain a little bit what that is.
Explain Cinema just celebrates 30 years of open access for filmmakers to showcase their films.
Yeah.
But we are open access, and anybody can show. We don't curate. The only curation is like the film have to be under 20 minutes.
Right.
We just put them on the timeline and show them. We usually have a show like every month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah.
So we are pretty close to you. You were born like maybe like 5 years later, but you're still from the same wave, kind of.
Yes, I believe it's the 30th anniversary of Exploding Cinema, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we might be joining with fusioning with a new group. But I will we will wait until he films. Anyway, some good news in the pipeline for us. Yeah, so I don't know. I find Talkaoke. I find you at the first at an Omsk event, must have been like 15 years ago or something like that now.
First what event?
Omsk.
Omsk, yes. Omsk, for those who don't know, Omsk was a kind of live art nightclub that happened some long time ago, probably before Zaki was born, where people did performance art and showed strange films. I'm just trying to connect it as well to the money, because it seems like back then, and even what you're doing now, nobody's really that interested in selling any of this stuff to collectors like Akbal. Yeah. But
it's because they're too up themselves, these artists.
Maybe they weren't very good. The thing is, they're always complaining about not having any money. Yeah, well, they don't want to sell their work. I don't get it.
If you don't want to sell it, you're going to be poor. You're going to sell your talent, your profession.
I mean, it's weird because there are people out there with the cash.
And there's people that have all sorts of interests. So, it may not appeal to me, but it could appeal to Zaki or anybody. If it's not available as an NFT or any other form, nobody's going to put their money in it.
Fucking anything.
Yeah. Well, they say, what is it? Build it and they will come. Whatever,
That's why I said about Talkaoke.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that from the film.
Because you can buy used underwear on
Wasn't it Barnum or somebody that said that originally?
It may have been.
Said what? What was the
build it and they will come.
Sell used underwear and you will
find. But that's the thing. I do think having done this for 25 years and started off in the live art clubs of East London. We don't do those kind of gigs anymore because they don't really pay. But people, you're right, I think, people don't really, they complain about not having any money, but don't necessarily think about how to make their work financially successful as artists.
And get the cash.
And get it out there, get it known. If it's not known, nobody's going to, the value of it won't increase either.
But I mean, how do you sell, if somebody makes artwork that can be taken, bought, put up on a wall or something, then that's fine. Or if you don't make that kind of work, what if you make a performance? Would you do then just sell?
You charge to see it.
Yeah. Well, then that happens.
But if I don't know that it's on, I can't pay my money.
But charging to see performance is not gonna. That's pretty loud.
The thing is, it all depends what it is. It could be incredibly valuable and somebody will pay to watch it, even if it's just one person that wants to watch it and has got a lot of shit ton of money.
Okay, so in a way, you don't need a big audience, you just need a rich audience.
Yeah.
Hence the patron thing.
Okay. Ian, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, somebody just mentioned the V word there, value. I can't comprehend of knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's a hand grenade that's just been thrown into the whole conversation. Because if you do something you value, I value being a member of the Richard III Society, but it's never made me any money. I value being this or that, but it's never made me any money. So I kind of resent the, and I shall be, what's it about this? I resent the injection of money into a conversation about value. So there.
But maybe.
Why do you resent it?
I resent it because it puts capitalist barriers around something that you don't have to be able to sell something for it to have value. And it's only in this world where we equate everything by financial terms that people make crap music and it sells a lot, and it produces more crap music. And whereas, you know, perhaps good music isn't as sellable because it doesn't have the same backing. You see where I'm coming from?
Absolutely.
And the loyalty as well.
Tim, no, you had a point there.
I was just referring to what David just, was it, sorry, David, or I'm now on my phone and I can't see all the faces. I'm sorry for that. So what's your name? No, Ian, sorry.
Oh, me, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for the name confusion.
All right, don't worry.
I think that like the system, how it works with money and value. So actually money is just a replacement of kind of value. And it would, I think, it would be actually interesting to see if it work like not having money and just surviving without money, but still doing the same things. Like you exchange your talents or what you would sell normally to someone who has another talent or who could give you, let's say, a tomato. And yeah, that would the way it used to be 100 of years ago. Yeah.
Tim, without being too personal, what are your talents and what could you exchange for?
I think my most valuable talent is listening to others. Yeah.
Good one.
Great talent.
Mikey.
But would anyone give you a tomato for that?
Can I just say that there was a system
Good question.
in Brixton called Bricks, and it was an alternative currency. And what it was, if you could put up a shelf, then you put your talent on there and you'd be paid in bricks, and then you could then spend that on somebody who could play the guitar, and you'd pay them in bricks. But the trouble is, the most useful talents like plumbing or that sort of thing, you had people that became brick millionaires, you know, and there was nobody there that they wanted to use the skills of. There was no skill that they needed within the rest of them.
I mean, I'm also concerned as a travelling talk show host how this is going to work and whether, you know, it'll take a lot of tomatoes to get me to set up Talkaoke somewhere, or plumbing or whatever, but it'll be quite hard to organise as well. Anyway, Katie, you've got a point.
That's what currency is for.
I think that defining someone with money is inherently like really inaccurate. So I 100% agree with Ian. I think it's better to, I don't think it's still totally accurate, but it's better to define it how something fulfills a certain purpose. Or, I mean, if someone's got like a chest of gold and they're on an inhabited island, technically they're very rich, but they can't buy any food. So like money just doesn't make any sense. Even that money, which is gold, which is kind of still pure form of money, it still doesn't, it doesn't hold any value there. So because it doesn't fulfill the purpose of getting that person what they need. So I think how something fulfills a certain purpose is better I mean, estimate of value. I don't know.
So is there a better way of defining value than money? Or is it just going to be a hodgepodge?
Yeah, how well something fulfills a certain purpose.
So give me an example of how that's going to work.
Well, okay, let's say the plumber can sort everything out, but it breaks down in a month. That'll be less value than if it breaks down after a year, right? Both cases, they did fix something and they used some tools and resources. However, the value of their work is different. It doesn't matter whether they got paid the same or not.
So it's not actually, the value isn't actually defined.
Yes, it's not, I don't think it's easily definable with numbers, and therefore money doesn't work.
Right, okay, good point. Where are we going to go? This we want to talk about value. Is there a different way to define value? Kane, and I'll come to you, Ian.
I guess, yeah, I mean, I think maybe a way of defining value is by what fulfills us. So the example of like taking a box of money to a desert island, like having a box of money on a desert island is probably not going to be very helpful.
Unless you've got those what 3 words.
Yeah, exactly.
The delivery drone can find you.
But then at the same time, like what's quite interesting is that did you know that Louis Armstrong went on desert?
Is that why penguins don't have money? Because they live on desert islands.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Louis Armstrong's desert island disc selection was all of his own songs, 9 of his own songs.
Really?
Yeah. So the question is, like, so, which means that that's clearly what fulfills Louis Armstrong is himself and his own voice. So yeah, I would just say it's whatever fulfills us, and that can be something that has purpose or something that is entirely pointless, but that we vibe on.
Okay, so it's in a way it's very variable, and there's we can define it maybe with 3 words, but actually it's much more. What's the word? Nefarious? Nebulous.
We're doing a weather forecast.
Yeah, it's much more nebulous. I do a weather forecast, but I
mean, I think the issue with the whole money on a desert island, it's very abstract. We don't live on a desert island. But what
most desert islands are.
And we have lots of people all able to offer different services and so on to us. It's so equating, is 1 tomato worth a psychotherapy session, or is it 500 tomatoes?
But would you want it to psychotherapy?
And do you need 500 tomatoes? Yeah. You know, it's kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Really,
this is where cash has worked.
Maybe not
for many hundreds
of
thousands.
Hold a lot of tomatoes.
Precisely. I mean, I can't carry 500 tomatoes easily, but you know,
and you get
a couple of £100 you can put in your pocket.
Yeah, you can carry £500 on you. Well, not coinful, but in notes. So,
So portability.
And you can do a lot with £500 as opposed to 500.
Exactly. I'm just going to have to interrupt here because Ian, you want to come in. Albert, do you want to say something? We've not heard from you yet, Albert. So do you want to say something? I don't know if you've got anything to add to this conversation.
Yes, hi. How are you?
Good.
I've been listening in, and I think the topic of discussion was more about money and monetization of your craft and all. Was it?
Yeah, kind of.
I joined in between there. I tried to catch up, but it was more about monetization, right?
Yeah, but can we do without money?
Of the artwork.
Yeah.
Can we do it
without money?
No, not really. We cannot do it without money because what happens here actually, what we've been talking about here in Kampala, to our creatives, we've been telling them that you have the passion, yes, but you must monetize. You must find that money bit of it in your passion. You must monetize your passion so that at the end of the day, you have sustainability, because there's no way you can sustain your work without money. It's very difficult.
You see, what we've got here is we've got David up here on the call. He's runs an experimental film night, and there's experimental filmmakers that have been making films for no money for 30 years. So in one sense,
30 years.
It is sustainable, because it's still doing it.
How has he been able to sustain that for 30 years? You're into film production, and how? I really want to know how he has been able to sustain that.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's quite amazing. It's amazing.
First, I guess you can keep it as a hobby. But somehow, but we are only one very small outlet. We are like not money making collective. But there is other people who are money making. So but whatever, pharmacy and it's the same. We showcase the work, and obviously is all about exposure. So obviously is one place to start, and somehow it's the same. If you're good at what you're doing, some other people will pay for your work.
But I mean, there are people there that have been showing for 30 years that have never made any money from their films.
It's the whole things of like, keep it as a hobby. For me, on my personal point of view, is keep it as a hobby.
You actually keep it as a hobby. Let me bring in Ian because he's been very patiently waiting and giving me the Spock salutes. Ian?
Yeah, it reminds me of the Billy Bragg LP called Talking to the Taxman About Poetry, and the kind of conversation that would be. I think that I want to say that nowadays a lot of value is through rarity. The reason that gold is so valuable is that it's so rare. Diamonds, all that sort of business, they're very rare. If everybody had them, they'd be worthless. And if you create value in that sense, then what about education? Because I'm sure people would agree that the more people that are educated, the more valuable it would be. So classes ain't as valuable because it's rare doesn't work.
Okay.
But that's what we do.
Okay, so you're saying really our system of value is kind of flawed. And it goes back to this thing about uniqueness that we started off the whole evening with, that being unique isn't actually a big deal. But rarity somehow gives more value to things.
All we want really is for things to be well done.
Done well, yeah.
Or medium.
Medium
to well
there
done.
Are various, there's various things that have an awful lot of value in terms of monetary value without necessarily providing much return in the business.
Like what?
So shares in certain businesses like Tesla or Apple or
old wine that you can't drink.
Or old wine you can't. Well, theoretically you can drink the wine and it will provide that return. But
would it be useful on a desert island?
It may not be useful on a desert island. You might be dehydrated. But in terms of like Tesla shares, Tesla's worth more than the next 3-4 car manufacturers, but produces 2-3% of the number of vehicles and makes minimal profit,
right?
Relative to its debt profile. However, it's somehow that people, I mean, it's an art project essentially. It's worth $1 trillion theoretically, but has no way of ever returning you the same value as shares in Toyota or Volkswagen or Ford or any of those things. It's a kind of odd hypothetical thing that's happened in the world.
There's some points coming through in the chat. Albert saying you've got to monetize your passion. Is that what Elon Musk has done?
I think so. I think he has. I think that's what's happened.
And Katie saying, I'm not saying money isn't useful or doesn't have a purpose. It's just an inaccurate way to define value. But can we get more accurate than money? Can we come up with a better system? What 3 words maybe we use to define value?
I think Katie wants
Katie, do you want to say something?
No, I actually wanted to move on, like to this topic about Tesla. I think it's a very good example about definition of value. I mean, I think Tesla's story is in a way fitting to this topic because at least some investors, I'm one of them, see it more as not investing in the car company. It's investing in the idea that that company is following. It's more about being so disappointed with the rest that throwing all your money there sounds like a great idea, whichever way it goes.
Right.
And I think so many people actually got inspired by that it just blew up this way.
Okay, so
nobody else could ignore it. So I think here, an idea essentially got monetized, not the company.
Right. So in a way, that suggests to me we should float Talkaoke on the stock exchange. People will invest because
an IPO or a
because
SPAC.
because we're not doing any environmental damage or anything really bad.
And we're somewhat sustainable.
You're even getting your chips in a bowl, a reusable bowl.
Yeah.
And people will invest because they like the idea, like Tesla. They don't care about making money.
Okay.
I don't invest in Tesla.
So you just need a completely, you basically just need an impossible, like a really, just an impossible idea that is less disappointing than other things. And that's why, because the whole thing with that, the blood testing, the whole scandal about the lady that,
No, I don't know that.
there's the lady who raised a huge amount of money for this really innovative blood testing thing. It would tell you all about yourself. Yeah. And it was bullshit. Like it didn't work. It didn't exist, but she was able to make billions. To raise billions and like what's like delivering.
But that's an idea. So if those people have invested in this idea, as sorry, I forgot the name, but has invested in Tesla, if you're investing in an idea and you're not investing in a company, there can't be any fraud because the idea is the idea, whether it exists or not, is superfluous.
But then that makes it. But then I mean, maybe that's. But then isn't the value in something like Talkaoke, which is like, it's a place for sort of collective imagining, is that we can just generate endless ideas that generate us endless money.
And the creativity.
We don't ever have to realize them because people will invest in an idea.
Wow. I mean, is that the future? Just generating ideas rather than generating products? Is that the way to get? Well, it worked out how to.
Yeah, the NFTs have taken us to a little bit of the way there.
Okay. All right.
Can we buy bits of NFT? Can we buy shares of if you've got
there
an
are
NFT,
projects
can
like
you
that.
break it
There
up
are
into
projects
little
like
shares?
that. Yes, it is possible to set up NFT to be split into shares. Yes,
Oh.
has been done as well.
Let's do this for Talkaoke then. Each episode.
It's possible to start own cryptocurrency, like on a different blockchain. Like as long as one can think of something, it will most likely be possible at this point.
I don't know if I'd want to invest in something that's never going to provide me a return, though.
There are these
I don't like ideas.
DAOs, basically, where people do bring up an idea, people throw money at it, and that's it. And it's kind of like a cryptocurrency. It lies on a blockchain, but it's just not used everywhere.
Mikey, you're losing out. This Talkaoke's created hundreds and thousands of ideas over the years. Mine it.
The blockchain is going to be used for the French elections. Some of the French elections are going to be online, and the system is going to be secure. Make it secure. We're going to be using a blockchain system.
Are they going to have any new ideas in the French election?
I don't know. Anyway, I'm not following it much. Probably, I'm more like into like the French embassy and stuff like that. Because apparently there is a big power. The French election couldn't be won by the president last time if the foreigner who leaves the board who actually vote in France, like through their local French council.
Right.
Apparently there is this is like the game changer or something like that. You can make the balance going on one side or the other.
I just we've got a new face joining us on the Zoom. That's Simon. Welcome, Simon. We started off today talking about Talkaoke in 25 years. Then we start talking about individuality. Is that worth anything, or is it actually better to be a grain of sand on the beach and somehow this went to penguins, as it is World Penguin Awareness Day. Penguins themselves appear to be all different to each other, but do they see humans as all the same, like we see penguins? And then somehow this moved on to NFTs.
I
I'm not
don't
quite
even
sure.
know.
And anyway, we sort of talked about uniqueness and value. We talked about artworks and then selling artworks and what is unique and what is valuable. And now we're sort of talking about the idea that ideas themselves are the most valuable thing. People invest in Tesla, not because it sells a lot of cars or the cars actually work, but more because it's a great idea. And investing in Tesla means you're not investing in all the shitty things about the world. And so we were like, well, that's quite a good business model. We've come up with thousands of ideas through the course of Talkaoke, although I don't know who they belong to, but maybe we could go back and flog some of those ideas or get people to invest in them. And that's it, basically.
Still there.
The blood machine story has been thrown in. Elizabeth Holmes, thank you, Timna, for adding some facts into this discussion. Okay, so that's where we are basically. Simon, come in as and when you want. Give us a sound check, give us a quick hello.
No one uses facts anymore. Hello and happy birthday. Quarter of a century.
I know. So that's where we are right now. I don't know where the conversation is going to go. It's all a bit about, can we come up with a better way than money for just talking about things that are valuable to us personally? And what about artistic process and creativity? Is that intrinsically tied to money? Do we need to sell our stuff? It turns out, this is just for you, Simon, that a lot of artists don't even want to sell their works. They don't want to be dirtied by the question of money. But what about sustainability? It's not really sustainable to make art or make music or be creative if you can't find a way to actually roll that into the economic system. So these are some of the questions that we'll be talking about in a moment. We've got lots of hands up. We'll go to Bob All first of all.
Hello. So no, but I'm interested in what David said a while back, which is maybe keep it as a hobby, and then and that way just you'll make it sustainable. I'm presuming it's because you've got other jobs and that kind of stuff, and keep your art on your terms and don't try to profit from it. I quite like that. I think even though as an artist, at some point I really wanted to kind of be a full-time performer or an actress and just like live off that, but then I realized it's not actually for me, and actually the stuff that I want to do, I don't really want to profit. I mean, I don't know, I don't want to profit from it.
It's a bit problematic for you, basically what
it's problematic.
Yeah.
What do
yes, it goes along with the universal credit. The fact that basically people get paid without value of the pharmacy, just receive like a regular income without having to produce for it. But basically,
yeah. Should we all just be getting a wage and then we can do what we truly want to express ourselves? Kane.
But yeah, if selling your art for money makes you feel dirty, then maybe you should consider money laundering.
Oh, that's actually great point that I want to say how happy I am that now in the UK we have plastic notes, because finally I always had this feeling how dirty the money is, and now I don't do it often, but just because I can wash the plastic notes. No, I don't, but I just like the idea that I can do it.
You can, and it's the idea that you can.
Yeah, exactly.
And that you can make money off of that.
Is money cleaner now?
Still don't. I mean, I remember watching this documentary. I'm not sure about the specific number, but it said 90% of all notes contain at least a trace of coke on them.
Okay.
So at least someone has at least sniffed using a.
But not the plastic ones.
Well, like using it.
Plastic,
using
but it doesn't hold to it as much.
No, they use a note, roll it up and as a straw, as a makeshift straw to
drink Coca-Cola.
No, I think the white stuff,
Right.
So I want to come back to the idea that you wouldn't sell your art, or you don't want to sell your art. Is it because nobody's offered you enough money for the art?
No.
Or is it just you don't ever want to sell it?
It's
Somebody
not
did
that.
come along and say, "Oh, I'd like you to perform," or
No.
"I'd like to buy your weird film. Can I have it? And I'd like to pay you, I don't know, 50 grand for it now in cash." Would you
But
take
it's
it?
like, you know, from.
Hang on a sec, because I feel like Katie is about. Oh, no, that's Margarita's going. We've lost her. Too late. We didn't get a final thought from her, unless this is the final thought. Massive congrats on 20th anniversary. Talkaoke, internet disruptions got horrible here, but feel like I'm the less unique and valuable penguin who has not his own sound. Oh.
She doesn't watch the beat of her own drum.
Well, I think it was more bandwidth issues that prevented. Well, every time she did try and join, it went horribly sideways, like the lame penguin.
It did make her unique, though.
Yeah, it did. Anyway, so just answer that question then about the. Would you, if someone came up with a wad of cash?
Well, Michael Douglas in a kind of indecent proposal.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
I don't know this reference, but anyway.
You need to watch the film. It's
Maybe one
it's
day
shit,
I'll watch
but
it.
it's
What I was trying to
interesting.
say is that, you know, for something that like performance, for instance, I think you can't own it, because performance to me is a form of communication.
Yeah.
And you can't own an act of communication. Like in my head, it's just what I don't want. And also the minute, for instance, if you're making a show and then somebody, you know, has invested money in it or invested in you as an artist, I think they invested in kind of like an aspect of you. And then maybe if you make another piece of art, I mean, actually it's not my concern or whatever, but I think you can't own you cannot own an act of communication. You can't own that. You can buy set from a show, you can buy a voice recording, video recording. You can buy a audio table, only 12 grand, just do it. And you can put food on it as well. You can use it for social situations. But what I would consider art is not something that is a tangible object. So what are you?
Is it a fungible object?
Non-fungible. Oh, well, it is fungible.
But
I don't know what that means.
So it's not, you can't, that act of communication is something special between people that can't actually be bought and sold.
Yeah, that is actually, you know, it's just what performance provokes in people. That's what the value of it is, I think. And you can't buy that. That's it. That's
But you can buy that performance.
How?
You can go.
You can go to that performance, and you can also contract with those people never to perform that again.
And that's what's and
You
that's
can.
because that's become that's the whole in porn. That's become a whole thing. The idea of personalized
improvisations
is where the value in the market, like where the money is. That you get porn, like, you know, you might have a specific fetish that is like naked people doing like
naked people is
or fully dressed people with their shoes on.
Because there's the whole thing of like you might have a fetish around like people having sex whilst collecting stamps or playing cards, and you will and you pay to have that made for you, and then that is yours and yours alone. Or what's it called? The band, was it Wu-Tang Clan that did that album that
just
they
the
made one copy of,
and Martin Shkreli bought it.
Yeah.
But would that be still art, or is it you just pay for the service or like the creation of something, but then like it doesn't mean it's art anymore?
Well,
because
you're saying that Wu-Tang's Clan album that they only sold to one person is not art because it only went to one person.
You can argue about that. You can argue that basically it's like it depends what you define art with.
Yeah, but then it's still in my mind the talkiokes that I've done, there's only been one person sitting at the table on the Zoom. I still consider that to be art.
Yeah, and it still meets Margot's criteria that it's still a form of communication, even if that's with one person.
It's a very delicate line, like in terms of like if you first thing, it's for me, it's about the intention that you create something with. If your intention is to do it for money, I think it actually takes away from the artistic value from my perspective, because that shouldn't be the base, the foundation for the creation. And also in terms of like, depending, because art is so broad and can touch so many subjects, like Margot talks about performances and also people paying for it. Like one thing you pay, you are not paying for the art, you're paying for the possibility to experience the art. So you basically just pay for your own personal experience, or you know, if you buy someone ticket as well. But like you don't own it by just paying the ticket, the price of the ticket.
Yeah, buying a ticket doesn't give you ownership. Katie, you've got a hand up. I want to see David as well, but Katie, go first. Well, you've gone quiet there, Katie.
She's on mute.
Katie,
you're muted.
You're muted.
A response to that if art, it has intention of money, it takes away from it. What if, would it be considered art if an engineer creates some brilliant piece of engineering? It takes a lot of creativity. He's doing it to solve a problem is the main intention. However, to actually put it in practice, it requires money to be built, and it will be sold because it requires resources. Is that art?
I don't know. Now, you want to jump in on that one?
Oh, I can only talk about my own assumptions here, because it really depends again on the creator, if he or she or they created with the intention for the art rather than for practicality.
Well, engineers consider practicality art, basically how little parts it has and so on, like how well it's built, how well it's engineered. For them, like I've spoken to a few of engineers in general, because I was studying physics. So they consider what they do pure art. Or for example, we could even take an architect, right? They try to make something both look good and be practical and work and not collapse. So they are doing it for both of those purposes, and it does involve money in it. So does it make it any less of art?
No, but wait, you talk about architects, right?
Architects, engineers, I mean.
Yeah. But here we come to also the term of design that's also related to art, but it's not exactly the same.
Yes, but then again, you can look at a building and say that, okay, it's a piece of art sometimes, right?
But
like some kinds of churches, right? They don't build certain like very fancy churches or stuff like that. Just an example from the top of my head, because it's more practical. They built it because it's more beautiful, but it has a practical purpose.
So beautiful doesn't mean something is art.
Some people have got their hands up, are playing the game, and I felt like Albert, you wanted to say something as well, but I'm just going to go to David.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Albert.
Yeah.
You first.
I wanted to say something on what Laura was saying is very correct. I think when you're creating a product or anything, the first thing that you really need to come up with is the intention. If the intention must divert away from, like, you don't have to think on the money side. It must be about you creating these products and the intent or the purpose of it. You want it to serve community or do. You really focusing on creating the product and its purpose. You're not focusing on the money. The money comes in later.
Yeah.
I think Laura is correct on that end. And there's a lady who was talking about the engineering bit of it and all. I think when it comes to that bit of creating, I think you need to think about first, ideas don't really come out fully formed. You have to create a minimum viable product, or a minimum, even if it is, I think in what she was talking about engineering, you've got to create as something first that is small, then after you expand on it, that's when I think you invest the money in it and you're looking at expanding it. But at first, it's got to be small and visible that you can put it out to either the investors or people who are really interested in it to put in money into it and it really comes out.
Is there the social element to it as well, that you have to put it out into the world to see what the value is or how people relate to that product, that design, before you really understand the value of it, I suppose.
Yeah, of course, when it comes to value, when you're creating something, you're just looking at creating that very product or creating a service. You're looking at creating something that is minimally viable, that can be looked at and let's say excite even an investor who wants to put in money into it, you know. So you're not, but you're not, your intent, you're not looking at money. You're not looking at, I have to create this, then quickly, you know, because money comes after a long end. It's a whole stretch that you have to first consistently work on something, then money comes in later. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the money to come for Talkaoke. I've only been 25 years. No, I'm doing okay. David, David, you wanted to come in on this one.
Yes. Basically, first going back to the artist things. Basically, it's not too much the artist as like a spoken word or visual artist and stuff like that. The act of creativity is part of is the power of imaginations. So basically, if you can imagine something, so basically create it from there and make it physicals. So basically, an engineer or an architect can do that. It's just basically the ability to basically struggle with all the elements and basically come up with like the solutions toward it. And there's two things, like there is the artist, but there is the people who is like having the creativity and the imaginations, so basically who create something new. There is the agent, is the person who is basically valuing the work and doing the speculations. So basically selling it to the biggest offer. And yeah, that's it. And to finish, basically within the art environment, is either you express yourself or you advertise yourself. Basically, either you express your thoughts and beliefs, or you get paid to do thought and beliefs of somebody else. And that's two different things. And the propaganda things, the whole propaganda, basically, government and basically will use artists to divulgate their train of thought and their theory and everything. This is quite powerful. Anyway, that's it. That was my little point.
Is it two different things, like promoting yourself and actually making the art? There's the space of the imagination, which in a way belongs to all of us, I think. Where do we want to go with the conversation? Is it time to shift it? Yeah, or is it time to get a new host in the middle of the table so I can go to the loo? Does anyone want to jump in? Anyone want to take the reins on this one?
Lara, go on. Just see how big your bladder is.
Okay, I can do it. Woo! I would like to do it.
Headset, Mike. So just stick that on, and then we'll.
Mikey, have you got the toilet camera set up?
I'm going to do the old classic of taking my radio mic to the loo, so you can hear what's going on in there. There won't be a camera feature. So we're going to introduce Laura for the first time in the middle of the table. We're just adding the new headset mic that we've got. And then, we're going to try out Laura. Keep it warm for her. Just sit here and spin around. I'm going to come out the other way, and I'm going to plug in my headset mic, and then just keep it warm. Just play a bit of theme music and spin around. You've seen me do it a few times. Yeah. Woo!
Where's the microphone?
Yeah.
I can hear myself. I am on.
Stick that in your pocket.
I don't have any pockets. I have tiny female jeans pockets, so it's not gonna fit in. Yeah. All right. It's gonna be my view for tonight. All right, here we go.
Maybe just a quick recap.
The quick recap of what we have said so far, starting from 25 years of Talkaoke and all the adventures that we, all the
what are the big things that happened?
I'm actually curious, and maybe that's a good moment to ask this question. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. I'm very curious because actually, in terms of the rules of the Talkaoke table, Mikey is actually gone now, so he can't answer this question. But what are the general Talkaoke rules besides no singing allowed? Is what I've heard.
Just keep the conversation flow going. Just look at people and just
Nothing too rude.
Yeah, nothing.
Can we create new rules?
Can be rude. If
Yes, because like where the rules come from, like what was the need for for those rules? Why do we
because
really need rules?
Otherwise, people talk over each other.
And there are a lot.
And we'll just turn into animals.
Yeah. Fortunately, we're all civilized
Yes.
here.
But I would like to sing. I'm not a very good singer, so maybe
I
that's a
don't
good
think that's
rule.
against
Yes.
I think that is against the rules.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know. I think perhaps it was somebody who wasn't a very good singer. Tried it originally.
A few tasteful reviews.
Yes.
Yes. Anyone maybe online remembers the first Talkaoke 25 years ago? Was there any singing incidents that banned everyone else from singing till this day?
I think I was there, and I don't think anybody was singing.
You were the very first one.
I think so. I was definitely there at the beginning.
Yeah.
In Brick Lane.
But I think it's an interesting question about rules. Like what is, do we need them? I mean, to what extent are rules just important, and to what extent just a bit, I don't know, putting restrictions on ourselves.
All right, Kane, you wanted to add something about that?
Yeah, I guess should we be creating, one option is the sort of Fight Club thing, that's like the first rule of Talkaoke is that there's no rules, and then no grabbing either. But should we be creating new rules now, or maybe, what could we have as a new set?
Do we need a new rule in Talkaoke? Like Tima wants to sing, so.
Oh, all right.
Well,
I wonder
you say it would be nice to sing, wouldn't
I
it?
wonder if things need to change if there's this virtual hybrid situation. Obviously, originally it didn't have any kind of Zoom. Zoom didn't exist.
Was there internet 25 years ago?
Yes, there was internet. Gosh.
Well, I was 3 years old, so.
Yeah, but the World Wide Web existed, and we called it the World Wide Web. Google didn't. It was a web crawler existed, and we had Netscape Navigator, and it was all very good in those days.
Yes, so you think it was
The
better?
internet you could write all the internet down in a book.
Katie, yes.
Okay, I was actually typing it, but when you asked if there is one rule that maybe Talkaoke should change, I think there is one that should, in my at least opinion. But I'm not as experienced in Talkaoke, so I may be wrong here, but I think the host should be able to give their ideas, even if once every 5, 10, 15 minutes or whatever set time period. But I think they should be able to input their own ideas, because very often the host can be someone interesting. For example, maybe I wanted to hear more of your ideas, but now I won't be able to because you can't share them anymore.
Oh, yes, that's an interesting point. Yes, Kane?
Yeah, I actually have to say I agree with Katie. I think there is, because I would say that the issue with impartiality, which the Talkaoke is meant to have, is that just leads to that is exactly what brought Donald Trump to power. I think there's a really thin dividing line between that and populism. I think by creating a space in which, do you know what I mean? There's something about like maybe why can't you say you fundamentally disagree with someone if they say something toxic, like say something genuinely appalling? Like would you challenge it?
I would ask the rest of the audience to challenge it. It's not because I don't have any ideas or don't think my ideas are valuable and important that I think that the person in the middle has to not give any ideas, opinions, or anything, because the flow just works better. For the first 5 years of Talkaoke, you can go back through the archives and see this. There's a lot of opinions coming from the host, and I don't think it aids the conversation. In practice, actually, people like to agree with each other. And in the middle, you can agree with everyone if you've got no opinions.
And also, that's an interesting point that you put here. And I'm not giving my opinion in any way, but now it just reminded me of this very interesting thing with people that I think we are quite embarrassed of just admitting that we don't have an opinion about something. Is that still an issue? Or are people more confident in just saying like, I don't know, tell me more about it so I can make my opinion?
For example, the vaccine debate.
Yeah.
When we've gone to places here, outside here, in October, we had a vaccine debate where we had the anti-vaxxers chatting with all those medical types that insist on medicating everybody. And we actually had quite a constructive debate, because when you get people around the table, there's an impetus to actually agree and find the commonalities. That's what you do when you are all together as a group, as a clan. You find out what makes it common. So I think it's actually a really important space, because the vaccine debate has become a little toxic, because I feel that it's really polarized people, and there's so many things like Brexit, and we see it a lot. So that, actually you need a way to connect these people, and the host has got a vital role in that, and expressing your own opinion, expressing your thoughts on it, I think only will divide a diverse group rather than connect them.
So it's important to be vaccine, not heard. In my head, I have this idea that it's really funny.
I think there's an awful lot to be said for conversation between people that don't agree with one another. I mean, with the Brexit debate and vaccine debate, I am on one side, and I talk to people all the time that are on the other side of the equation. And unfortunately, we can't, at least online, we kind of insulate ourselves. We kind of live in these bubbles. And to some degree, we choose our friends based on those bubbles as well. And it's quite nice to be able to converse with people and ask them, why don't you want to have a vaccine? Also, why don't you, why do you support Brexit? And sometimes perfectly valid reasons come up. I've certainly heard quite interesting reasons on all sides. I don't agree with them, but it's important to have that conversation. Otherwise, we become this polarized society, and this is where Trump, and to some degree, I think we are a bit different in this country to the American system, in that, an awful lot, the most vociferous opponents of Boris Johnson right at this moment in time are conservative voters. At least they're the ones that I'm hearing that think that he's a complete so-and-so.
Yeah, all right, Mikey.
I mean, if I had Donald Trump around my Talkaoke table, there would be some things that I would draw the line at, like for example, when he made fun of the disabled person.
And the wall situation.
Well, I don't know about the wall because I think that's just an opinion. But when he made fun of a disabled person, he was attacking another person for expressing their opinion and undermining them, and using his power to make fun out of somebody with less power, and that is kind of banned on the Talkaoke table. So if he did something like that, that would be way inexcusable, off the line. But that, whether if he's got conspiracy theories or thinks that COVID is a hoax or blaming it on China, that I think is fine to have a conversation about it. But about personal dynamics around the table, I think would be where someone like a Donald Trump type character would have to be reined in, I think, on Talkaoke.
But is that type of character even a character that you can have a conversation with? Because the conversation is like a both ways communication.
I think you can, because I think you can also agree with them. It's not, you might have opposing political views on certain things, but nobody's, I, for example, will say you can't oppose everything that the Conservative Party have ever done because you feel that you're not a Conservative. Mm-hmm. Equally, you can't oppose everything the Labour Party have done because of one thing that they've done, or two things, or 100 things, because there's going to be something that you agree with. It doesn't matter, particularly if you're vehemently opposed to one opinion or another. There is always going to be a point at which you agree on something, and this is where you can, I think, grow the conversation and link together. And I very much appreciate being in this country where Conservative voters can oppose the Conservative Party. They're the ones that take the mickey out of it the most. Mm-hmm. And
it's a shame they vote Conservative, then, isn't it?
Well, whether they do or they don't is, at the end of the day, if you were, let's say, for example, you're gay, that may be the only thing in the world that you have ever cared about, and you decide, right, well, the Conservatives legalize homosexuality, they introduce gay marriage, and so on, right? And those are the things that you want to base your entire political philosophy on. Now, that might be considered a bit of a left-wing thing to think about, but you've decided that's all you're going to base your... But women's suffrage, for example, again, still under a Conservative government. All of these things you can base your political philosophy on those two or three things. You might decide you don't like other things, but you've decided those are so core to your personal opinions about society and life that you will always vote Conservative.
All right.
Equally, you could say, I like lower taxes, and that's the only reason I'm voting Conservative. At the moment, it's a bit dodgy, but normally.
What about the people online? Would you have a conversation with Conservatives, or do you think it's just a waste of time? And what are your thoughts about it, Katie?
I truly love talking with people who have opposite ideas. Very often, actually, I have found that I hear some very, very good points. And in general, for me, I have this issue where I can argue for both sides whenever I'm arguing for any one of them. So I tend to... I don't think any topic can have just one side being right. I think both of them usually have some very good points, and I prefer to see the bigger picture. So I try to talk with people who have... If I have strong ideas on a topic, I will look for people or groups online who have different ideas and try to listen to them and engage them to understand their point of view. Because I find understanding other people's perspectives truly entertaining and enlightening, both at the same time.
All right. Yeah. Me?
Yeah, I think it's a really bad. I think the issue with the bubble, with social media, and and Facebook and things like that is that it's made it really, maybe it's difficult to have those conflicts. It's creating a world in which you are sort of forced to, where you don't get that interaction and you don't get to move outside your little bubble. I think that's the bit that's where these sort of conversations, the kind of locking yourself in the room with someone that has an opposing view, locking the door and seeing what happens, isn't allowed to happen. It's sort of just, instead we get to kind of go down our own little rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I also think with social media, particularly Twitter and so on, it's gamified in a way. It's a game, and what you want to do is win that game, and you want to win that debate, and it promotes it. I mean, I love Twitter feuds. I have them all the time with people, and I just find that there's a glorious feeling in winning an argument, especially when they give you the ammunition to win that argument.
So who do you argue with on Twitter?
Oh, it's usually Brexit types, but
you win the argument.
Yeah, or it's at the moment there was the last one was about renewable energy, and the last thing he said, he sent me a link, which one element of it agreed with what he was saying, but all of the rest of it didn't. And so it was very easy to win by just saying, well, read the rest of it, please.
But then that's the gamification.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not right, because what it should be is that you're in person and talk to each other. You don't want to fight with somebody that you're talking to in person, I think.
Just before I give you a voice, Mike, I just quickly want to ask you before we move from Twitter, how do you win conversation? Like, do you say at the end, like, okay, you won, and that's the end?
No,
of the
they just stop.
tweets?
You stop. They give in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just keep at them until you finish, until they stop.
Talking about creativity and engineering and design, I really think that it's an engineering fail from Twitter and from all these things that they are so antisocial. I mean, they do it, obviously it's a deliberate choice from their perspective, but all social media could be engineered to actually be pro-social and not antisocial, and vote. It would just vote up more understanding comments. So rather than a comment that was getting more likes from your supporters or getting more whatever, retweets or whatever from the people that you supported, one that was actually saw the bigger picture, as Katie said. So I think it would be pretty simple to re-engineer social media to actually promote the more reasonable and pro-social comments.
Katie just mentioned on the chat that also she likes losing because that means she definitely learned something, which I think is a very valid point to add to the conversation. Does it happen often for you, Katie, to lose? No.
Sadly, no, because very often people, they don't understand their own reasons for certain opinions. And once I ask the right questions for them to figure it out, they end up getting confused and stop the conversation. So
I feel like I'm missing out on this whole. I've never really had a Twitter
I
argument
need
with
to get
anyone.
Twitter now.
It's easy. Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
sorry to dampen the mood, everyone, but I have to go.
Oh, no.
That's pretty much ruined my evening, actually.
Well, let's hear your final thought then.
I have a few things to add. Thank you guys, for the big birthday, 25th. On the case of birthdays, in a month, or under a month from now, I'm going to be having my 20th. So,
oh well,
oh nice.
So a lot of things from there. Thank you. And tomorrow is actually, I wouldn't really call it an anniversary, but it's been a year. It would have been a year since my father passed from tomorrow. So it's very somber thoughts these coming months. And I hope everyone is well. And please take care. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Zaki. We wish you all the best and see you soon.
So there's one example.
Yes.
Yes.
What about the people online?
Actually getting rid of Twitter. This is
Any
the last
any
Talkaoke.
points about what's been said about Twitter?
We're not done now.
Done, yeah, no, this is just the first 25 of years of 125 years.
Hopefully.
500 years.
Yes, Dana?
I think it was less about Twitter what I wanted to say, but I actually would love the idea. I mean, I've never lived this situation, but then you have an argument, and in the end, you either say, "Yeah, I won this argument," because I think it would be really fun, like seeing someone like trying to have this triumph of, yes, I won it. And on the other hand, I just experienced. I think sometimes it's easier to tell someone, yes, you are right, because then it takes out a lot of pressure, because as I can't remember who's just mentioned that, but I think we all like educated in a way of we want to win this situation. So sometimes it's not about a topic or something specific anymore. It's just like, I want to win. And then it's kind of funny when you tell someone, I think, to say, hey, okay, you were right, I was wrong, because then you take out of the pressure. And I had this situation once, and it was really funny to see that the person was like, wow, that seemed to be pretty easy, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, easier said than done. In this case, still said.
I think when it comes to Twitter, Facebook, all of these things, they promote engagement, and this is the agreeing with somebody or having empathy for somebody isn't very engaging. I think that you are much more, and they know you are much more likely to be engaged with a fight than you are two people hugging each other and give a shit. If they're fighting, you're going to stay there, aren't you? And watch. And it's just how it is, you know. It panders to the lowest common denominator, and we're always going to see this. I don't think it's going to. I can't see any social network setting up to be this kind of lovey-dovey, you know. We agree on something, it's lovely. Nobody cares. I'd much rather see a fight.
Simon, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, well, I was going to make the point that's just being made, actually. Media, it's all about what they call impacts, which is how often people see the page, and that's where your ad is. And as just been said, you know, there's not a lot of money in people only looking at things a couple of times and going, yeah, we're on the same page. The money is, and people being outraged and saying, I can't believe they're going to say it, bam, 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 and I'm going to fire off my comment, and yada, yada, yada. And unfortunately, the commercial imperative there is driving that. And yeah, funnily enough, it's not even conservative against Labour, is it? And just on that point, I was going to say that I think it really depends who you talk to. There was some guy on Newsnight was saying, paying a tribute to someone who died, and he said the best tribute I can pay this person is that if you argued your case well enough, they would actually change their mind, and that was a sign of a great intellect. But a lot of people are so invested, it's so tribal now, that some people you can have these conversations with and you can find the common ground, and other people you can't, because they close you down instantly, you know. And so I've had these conversations with a family member where I've said things like, for example, about Brexit. Well, you do know, don't you, that we import 50% of our food, and that 30% of that is from the EU. So we can't just fall out with all of Europe and then just to be totally closed down and laughed at. Or I've said, Brexit is a geopolitical coup for Putin, which you can read in loads of places, like you know, on strategic studies and things like that. It's not even controversial, and their response is just to laugh and go like, oh, whatever. You can't really argue with someone like that. So I think it all depends who you're talking to, but it's so, even within people that are theoretically on the same side now, it's so micro, you know, people's front of Judea stuff. Yesterday on Twitter, MP Dawn Butler of Brent, I think she's the one that called Boris Johnson a liar in Parliament, which to a lot of people is just kind of stating the absolute obvious. But she'd received an abusive tweet, and she posted and said, "Can you guess the age, color, and gender of this person? I'll say who it is later on." And there was a torrent of people, you know, going, "This is outrageous," which it was. I mean, it's awful for people to be subject to racial abuse like that. But then there was one guy who got really jumped on for saying, "Hang on, we're angry with racists because they generalize, they make sweeping generalizations about specific groups of people. And now you're asking everybody to guess, to say basically the same thing that racists do when they say, oh, there's been a stabbing in London. Oh, well, I think we know who did that, don't we?" The same sort of principle, but nobody wanted to hear it. And this guy got taken apart for just saying, let's not use the same thought processes. You know, let's not become nasty to defeat nasty people. But that's what, you know, Twitter thrives on that, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Kane, you want to disagree here?
No, I was just going to say, like, was actually the person that said it? Was it actually just like something no one ever thought of? Like, it was actually a penguin who made those comments. It's not funny.
I don't know how easily they do the typing.
You shouldn't get
really.
Twitter.
You know, penguins don't tweet.
I also got shut down on social media recently for just saying that Putin is a Canadian dish of chips and gravy.
Poutine.
Isn't it?
Ah, okay, sorry.
Oh
my God, I'm sorry.
Margot, I see.
On the
I
subject
thought there was no drinking in the Talkaoke studio.
I'm not,
No
I'm just
drinking.
tired.
That's fake news, this, Simon. No, but on the subject of the social media, or like media wants to only hear positive things. And what about dating websites? That's nothing, you know, they strive for just telling lots of, you know, positive stories, like, oh yeah, and they got together and they had a really normal life. Fucking fantastic. You know, that's good. That's a good story. Probably not very inventive. But...
Well, actually, a study in New Scientist I read recently said that Tinder is actually responsible for more racial integration in the United States than anything that's come before it, because it encourages people to, you know, they started off actually with an algorithm that was frankly racist, but then they realized what they were doing and they encouraged people to mix between races, and that has actually been very, very successful. But I just want to say something about racism. I think you have to sort of like call out and in a way be racist to fight racism, because how are you going to say, you know, if one race is being treated differently to another, you have to identify those people and say how they're being treated differently or how they're thinking or acting differently in order to overcome whatever social problem you're invoking. So I think in a way you do have to be racist to fight racism, not in a discriminatory way, but at least to actually talk about and call out how different races not only are being treated, but how they're acting as well on the basis of that.
Any more thoughts about it?
I mean, I've got thought about algorithms and things like that. I find that I've discovered that Google know what a scam is. They know what a scam is, and they will target you with scams if you start off looking at a scam. So I click on every single Nigel Farage advert. Anything that he's associated with I click on it, because I know he's paying Google a little bit of money every time I click that button. And I've clicked on thousands of them.
Because you want to...
I just want him to cost him money. I'm never going to pay for his subscription, whatever shit he's selling. But I'll click on it anyway. Mm-hmm. And what I've realized is that I get so many adverts for what are obvious blind scams. And they're so blindingly obvious. I don't understand how Google doesn't realize these are all scams and they should cut them off. But they don't. They target you. You get more and more scam adverts. Give me money and I'll teach you how to make more money. All that kind of shit. You know, it's all crap. It just none of it's real, and it's odd that somebody hasn't told or Google hasn't figured this out because their algorithm's very clever. It knows.
I can fix that for you, actually. If you're willing to send me £100 now by PayPal, I can fix that for you.
I can help you with the Brexit debate if you like.
All right. Oh, what is this sound? Is that the final thought sound? Oh, yes. But Katie, do you want to quickly add something? Because you had your hand up just before. So maybe if you want to.
Okay, hopefully this won't be the last thought. But regarding Google's algorithms.
You can add your last thought after that.
I don't think it's something that should be hoped even upon, because Google did have a motto basically about in their rule of conduct since 2000 that said, don't be evil. Mm-hmm. In 2018, they cut it off. They basically just simply removed it. They were like, we're not even trying anymore. So putting hope on that part might not work out.
Yeah, let's maybe finish with something more positive. Your final thought?
For final thought, yeah, I mean, I think we all should be more open to understand other people's perspectives. And instead of trying to argue and figure out which side is right, rather try to understand why people think a certain way. I think that might prove to be more useful and enlightening.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you for that. Anyone would like to go next, or should I choose Margot?
This is I'm going to make my final thought, but just from what Katie said, you said about let's try to understand why people why people have the perspectives they have. Oh, I can't remember how you said it. Right. My therapist says just stop doing that, because you're just forever giving people excuses, like you're letting them just sometimes behave in whatever way or whatever hurtful way, but you're forever trying to understand where people are coming from. So maybe it's not that good.
Very good thought. David, would you like to share with us your final thought?
Be artist, create your own world, be happy, stuff like that. I know it's like kind of like putting your head in the sand and stuff like that, but somehow protect what makes you happy. That's it. My final thought for the day. Thank you. Look forward to the next one.
Perfect.
And a happy birthday again. Happy birthday, definitely.
Yes.
I'm glad you made it so far.
Great. Kane?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, I completely agree with David. I think it's about it's just really about being fulfilled. And if you're fulfilled by winning Twitter battles or like spending the whole of a talkaoke just trying to come up with a joke that never lands, like as long as it, or sort of selling a performance to one person for a huge amount of money, and it makes you happy. I think that's the main thing. Like, I think it's whatever fulfills you. Though obviously I can see how that can kind of get out of control if bad things fulfill you.
So maybe like on the safe ground. When no one gets hurt.
It's a little bit like I say with my nieces, they can do whatever they like as long as it doesn't hurt someone or themselves. Mm-hmm. So fulfills you and doesn't hurt anyone or hurt yourself. Yeah, that's rules for living.
Liberté de chacun s'arrête où commencent les autres. Freedom of everybody stop when somebody else's freedom starts.
I think we understood the word that you said then.
I'm just agreeing.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. What do we have? Simon? do you have your final thought ready?
Well, I won't talk about the potential death of consensus reality and where that leads a fragmented and atomized society. Instead, I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to, off the back of what Katie said, there's a thing in neuro-linguistic programming, like an exercise you can do where you ask people to compare something, and the way they respond tells you if there's someone that sees commonality first or someone that sees difference first. So maybe we can all train ourselves to be a little bit more like people that see commonality first rather than looking straight away for the differences, but also being mindful of what Margot said, but of course, still having our own boundaries and not to the point where we lose ourselves and our own set of principles, but we can, just like Katie said, understand a little bit more.
Yes, with the boundaries. Let's remember that. Very, very good thought. Timna, would you like to share your final thought with us?
Yes, so I think that from what Katie just mentioned and Margot mentioned, I think for myself, these are two different situations. So I think, and this comes back and is related to Simon's thoughts. Yes, I think we should definitely focus on us being human beings, like we all have a heart, because we could not live without a heart. We need air, and we try to feel fulfilled. Coming back to one other thought, maybe my final thought is just to try to relate all the thoughts of everyone. No, yeah. And on the other side, I think what Margot just said, I think trying to understand why someone behaves in a specific way, yeah, it should never be an excuse for their bad behavior. That's, yeah, maybe that's my final thought. And thanks for this great conversation. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you for joining us. Would you like to share?
I think you should always try, even if you disagree with somebody, find something that you do have commonality with.
Is that what you did with the Brexit guy?
Yeah, Nigel Farage.
Yeah, I did. The thing is, with Brexit, for example, you'd say, Brexit could, I don't agree with Brexit, but it could be a fantastic modality. We could invest in all of the poor kids in this country and pay for their university education, develop the one resource we have in this country, which is human beings, and develop the knowledge base in the country. No Brexiteer disagrees with that, but they don't want to pay for it. They kind of like, it's quite an if you said university should be free for all STEM subjects, they won't agree with arts, I can tell you that. But all STEM subjects, it should be free. And then the engineers and the technicians and the medics and so on can build the country up to be the great Britain that it should be.
Because everyone likes flowers.
Then, right.
Yeah.
Another joke at it. Mikey, I'm pretty sure this is time for your last.
I mean, I've really enjoyed today, and I like to be on the outside and have somebody else host, so I can't say my opinions, but also hear other people's opinions. I think that the space there is for space for creativity and imagination, and I think that's creating those new spaces where we can all progress is really the way forward. So it is so important to create these imaginary worlds, which in the end become real worlds. So I think that's how we can all agree. When we go to the cinema, we don't all disagree about, which is the right Spider-Man. Whoops, spoiler there.
That's a big spoiler if you've not seen the movie.
But you know, the thing is, we're all there in that combined experience, and we're all enjoying it together. And I think that is really the power of art and creativity and imagination, that we can actually be sucked in together into this journey, which is life.
And the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Great. I believe, do I have a final thought? Oh, if only one. I honestly don't know what to say. I have no opinion about my thoughts at the moment.
That's what it's like to be in the middle.
Yeah, that's actually what the middle
I
of the
just
table
switched
does.
off my opinionated side of the brain for the thoughts. But yeah, it's been great. I definitely enjoyed my sample in the middle, listening to all your opinions and not worrying about giving my own. And I really enjoyed the conversation about art and what it really means for us. I think there is a lot of area to actually maybe question what we know so far and open for other opinions as well, and then contrast it with what we really believe in, and that kind of helps as well to create your opinion, because it's okay not to know enough on certain subject to have an opinion, but it's definitely our duty to just care to make our way to the final conclusion. So I guess that's my final thought for tonight. And thank you so much, everybody. I hope,
Katie's
the next
asking
one.
where
Thank you for
the
joining the
after party
first
is.
Talkaoke of 2022.
Yeah, where the after party is.
We're gonna see you in a month, maybe earlier.
I will just say thank you for joining, and we do have some talkages coming up in Thamesmead if you happen to be around, one on Saturday, and then actually
the big party.
The big party.
25-year party is being postponed until July.
Yes.
When is the actual, what date was it?
Just put, without naming names and revealing too many details, just block out Sunday 10th of July in your lives. Just do it.
For a very special event.
A very special
featuring Toby
So,
Maguire.
a big round of applause to Laura in the middle for first.
Thank you.
Mikey for the 20th, in the middle area. And to Rick for all the visualizations. Actually, I really enjoyed that one with the banknote, the American banknote.
The
I really liked. So yeah,
yes.
the penguins were great. And that's it. Over and out. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good night, everyone. See you soon.